excellence. We meet today on an economic anniversary of sorts, 20 years of liberalization and reform, but seem reluctant to celebrate. That's what happens when you have a long and reasonably stable marriage, but the fireworks have gone missing. Schooled as we have been in that hard-nosed business philosophy of paisa vasool, the strategy seems to be wait and watch before splurging. That might appear to be a somewhat frivolous view of India Inc.'s relationship with the government in these hard times. But let me assure you that the intention is neither to belittle the rich legacy of the 1991 budget, which has grown the Indian economy fourfold, nor to offend the sensitivities of the business community. No one can deny that the year gone by has been a depressing one, and more than dampened sentiment, as E.T. likes to so delicately put it. A spectrum of scandals has roiled the airwaves and rattled the political domain. Civil society has risen with one voice against corruption. Inflation has muted the jingle in our pockets, all 32 rupees of it. And policymaking has come to a virtual standstill. With so many debits on the balance sheet, if you can't quite figure out why the gross domestic product has grown, be hip and check out Facebook. Your kids' friends will tell you what GDP really stands for: gas, diesel, and petrol. Ladies and gentlemen, as we enter an unsettling period of turbulence in the skies and slow down on the ground, Formula One notwithstanding, the future of growth looms before us almost as an existential concern. The India story may still be a bestseller worldwide, but it's lost some of its bloom at home. In an unusual move, 14 eminent public figures, including some who are with us this evening, have written 2 open letters to India's leaders, urgently petitioning action on graft and the pace of reforms. More recently, the corporate skipper of the Mumbai Indians, or shall we say the spouse of the corporate skipper, has himself stepped into the field and led the bowling charge. Such interventions clearly reflect the growing impatience of corporate India with bottlenecks, bribes, and a bullock cart pace of reform. It is a restlessness the government surely understands, but has been unable to address, perhaps due to its own political compulsions. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the Economic Times has decided it will try and break the impasse by playing the honest broker. A couple of weeks ago, it invited some of the finest minds of India Inc. to a brainstorming session on an agenda for renewal. Later this evening, the 10-point agenda will be formally unveiled on stage, to be followed by a discussion between CEOs and ministers. We hope the give and take that follows will open up hearts and minds. May I now request Vineet Jain, Managing Director of the Times Group, to come on stage. I now invite our chief guest of the evening, Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee, to come on stage. May I also invite Ministers Kapil Sibal, Jairam Ramesh, and Salman Khurshid to join them on stage. join us shortly. May I now request Mr. Vineet Jain to deliver the welcome address.
Honorable Finance Minister, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, Mr. Salman Khurshid, Mr. Kapil Sibal, Mr. Jairam Ramesh, winners of the ET Awards, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2011 Economic Times Awards for Corporate Excellence. Let me begin by congratulating our winners tonight. I consider this year very special. After a near collapse of the global financial system around the world in 2008, this year we are recognizing two bankers who have come out stronger after the crisis. Our Lifetime Achievement Award winner is widely credited with having the foresight that kept India safe from the global carnage. And we are awarding an airline, an auto major, and a sugar company which have defied market conditions to emerge winners. The past 20 years of liberalization have been a reason to cheer, with dramatic growth and improvements across industries. Today, we are at an important crossroad. If we get our act right, we can be one of the top 3 global economies by 2020. If we get it wrong, it would be a lost decade for India. With this in mind, we requested 6 CEOs to draft an agenda for renewal, which would be discussed this evening with our esteemed guests, Cabinet Ministers Jairam Ramesh, Kapil Sibal, and Salman Khurshid. I would like to thank them and Mr. Mukherjee for taking time out to be with us. This agenda has kicked up the dust, raised eyebrows, and ignited ideas from across the spectrum. We all look forward to an engaging discussion between India Inc. and its captains. Mr. Finance Minister, the government has sent a strong pro-reform signal by opening up retail. We look forward to ideas from you in your keynote address to set the course for the next 20 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jain. We now move on to the high point of this evening. May I request Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee to deliver the keynote address. Mr. Mukherjee.
My distinguished colleagues and the Council of Ministers, Salman Khurshid, Jairam Ramesh, Vineet Jain, distinguished participants, award winners, ladies and gentlemen. Very good evening to all of you. I would like to take this opportunity of congratulating Economic Times to organize this program and to mark the Corporate Excellence Awards. In society, there is need of recognizing the distinction, performance, and the persons or institutions who are behind this performance, this distinction. Corporate excellence is no longer confined just to the economic activities of a few companies or corporate identities, but their performance affects the economy of a large number of people, in fact, a vast segment of the modern nation states. Therefore, it is important to have this type of organization, and particularly to identify the institutions, the individuals who show exemplary courage, innovation, determination, entrepreneurship, innovative skill, which make them distinct from many others. Once again, I take this opportunity of congratulating all of them and also the organizers of this evening function. When I look around, I find a large number of known faces with whom I have come across not once, twice, but on many occasions. I see some faces whom I saw to grow before my eyes, and I had advantage of working with their parents. Perhaps this is the advantage of an old age, and I take this advantage of being old. I would also like to take this opportunity of sharing some of my perceptions with this very distinguished gathering on the state of economy with which we are, all of us are concerned. In 2008, we had to face the first challenge, which many contemporary historians tried to compare with the crisis due to the Great Depression of early 1930s. Nobody anticipated subprime mortgage lending by some banking institutions in a corner of United States of America could turn into a major financial crisis. But actually it happened. And thereafter, attempts were made and a new forum was created, the Forum of G20. Leaders of these important countries, which account for 85% of the world GDP, they assembled in several summits, the last one being held at Cannes in France, addressed the issue, and after the Pittsburgh summit, and sending a strong determination, the roadmap was adopted by a large number of countries, including India. The primary concern was how to prevent the further deceleration of economic growth. Many of the countries resorted to huge fiscal expansion to ensure that through stimulus package they could revive the economy. It had its impact. The process started in two tracks. The developed economies, the growth process was slow. But the emerging markets, the growth process was faster. Take the example of India. 2008-9, the first quarter growth, GDP growth was around 9%. But from the Third quarter onwards, it started declining deeply. Just at that point of time, by accident, I had to come to the Ministry of Finance from Ministry of External Affairs. 3 years ago, on this day, I was the Foreign Minister, and I had to spend 3 consecutive sleepless nights and negotiating with my counterparts all over the world because something tragic was happening just perhaps a few hundred yards away from this place. But I had to come to the Ministry of Finance because Prime Minister, who was holding the finance temporarily, had to undergo a major surgery. And I did something unusual, which normally any finance minister would not like to do, because he was for a short while, his mandate was limited. I injected stimulus package to the extent of almost 3% of GDP. In absolute terms, 1,86,000 crores of rupees, which yielded result. Further deceleration of GDP growth was prevented, and we could end the year with 6.8% GDP growth. But the signal to recovery was strong. As a result, in the next year it was 8%. 2000 year 10-11, it was 8.5%. And then came the Eurozone crisis. We are not makers of that crisis, but we are the victims of that crisis. My exports from month of October is going down. It is bound to happen, despite diversification of the destination and products. Europe as a whole, North America and Japan contribute substantially to Indian exports. Because of the fact there is uncertainty and attempts are being made that NBA new borrowing arrangement of IMF, whether it should be utilized to bail out the Eurozones. High sovereign debt of some of the European countries. Leaders of Europe have not yet been able to sort it out, though the mandate was quite clear. Let them come out with a credible assess. Let them come out with a package by themselves. And then the question of supplementary finance through international organizations could be thought of, and we would also like to make our own contribution in that process. But surely, as I voiced my concerns, like many other emerging economies, we would not like to have the NBA to provide the supplementary finance to overcome the Eurozone crisis at the cost of quota readjustment, the process of which should be completed by 2012, where India's share and quota allocation will increase and India will emerge as the 7th country within the IMF, so far the position of quota is concerned. Yes, we have problems of high inflation. We have problems of rupee depreciation. We have problems because our growth may not be what we projected. We have problems whether it would be possible for us to maintain the fiscal deficit target and the process of fiscal consolidation which we began immediately in 2009 itself, after receiving the fresh mandate from the people. Here I would not like to explain the detailed strategy of how we are going to work out on these problems and how to face it, because that is the job of the government. That is the job of the corporate sectors. That is the job of the people of this country, which they will do. Only one point I would like to convey to this very distinguished gathering, that if we go on expressing our sense of frustration, our sense of helplessness, nobody is going to help us. Our problems will have to be solved by ourselves. I do not believe that there is any sense of despondency. In our country, there is no lack of cynics or self-styled Cassandras. When I borrowed money from International Monetary Fund in the early 80s, many of the self-styled Cassandras projected that Indian economy is gone, India will be a basket case. It did not happen. Almost 20 years after that, when I signed the WTO agreement at Marrakesh on 15th of April 1994, hundreds of effigies were burnt all over the country. But everybody appreciates today that being the original member of WTO, starting from the days of GATT, when China had to wait for nearly 7 years to be the member of the WTO, India got benefit. India was not affected. Therefore, my appeal to my political colleagues that please keep aside politics from the major economic decision. There is a sense of continuity, and that is the beauty of the Indian multi-party democratic system. Despite divergences of the opinion, sometimes we converge our views on real issues. Let us expand the area of convergence. Let us reduce the areas of divergence. Perhaps that is the best we can do to create confidence in the system. As I mentioned, I am an old man. An old man has advantages and disadvantages. My disadvantages are much more than my advantages, because hardly I forget anything. I remember 1975, when we had 24% rate of inflation, but we did not start eating dessert. 1980, after a gap of 3 years, when Mrs. Indira Gandhi was re-elected, and I happened to be her finance minister, the rate of inflation was as high as 18%. And in 1991, when Dr. Manmohan Singh took over as the finance minister under P.V. Narasimha Rao's government, rate of inflation was as high as 16%. Of course, that does not justify that there should be a high rate of inflation. The short point which I am trying to drive at, when the problems come, problems are to be addressed, and merely by creating uncertainties, by creating a situation where hard decisions cannot be taken, will not help to solve the problem, but will compound the problem. This is the short message I thought I would like to convey through this distinguished gathering in this evening. We have opportunities. I can tell you, with my little experience which we have in the government, if we can create an atmosphere where the highest sovereign institution of this country just do its own designated, mandated job. Parliament is meant for passing laws. Parliament is meant for discussion, debate, decision. Parliament is never meant for disruption. And if somebody wants to give this thesis, most respectfully, I would like to disagree with it. And once the institution starts functioning, I'm quite confident that people will get back confidence. Corporate sectors will get back confidence. Corporate sectors, individuals, society as a whole will feel, yes, we can do. And I can assure you, government is determined to do. Let us create that atmosphere and let that message go from this evening function. Once again, I congratulate the award winners. They are our role model. Let us emulate them. Let us achieve, and let us not find out excuses why things cannot be done. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and excuse me if I have become a little bit emotional. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Finance Minister. It's reassuring to know that the keys to the nation's treasure chest are in such experienced hands. May I also welcome Mr. Kapil Sibal, Minister for Communications and Human Resource Development. May I now request Ravi Dhariwal, CEO of the Times Group, to introduce this evening's awards.
I've got a cheat sheet, so I'm going to refer to that. Honored ministers, honorable ministers, and honored guests and award winners. At the Times Group, today we put our best foot forward. Today we celebrate excellence. Today we celebrate the culmination of the work of a lot of my colleagues, editorial and brand colleagues, to carve out and to chisel and to curate wonderful stories that exist in our midst. And it is this celebration that we are gathered here for today. But this job won't be complete without the help and the guidance and the extraordinary, extensive debate that the jury has about all these wonderful diamonds and stories that we need to tarasha. And I thank our jury members, particularly the chairman of the jury. Every year we have a global leader as the chairman of our jury. This time it was Mr. Jamie Dimon, the chief executive worldwide of JP Morgan. And it was a wonderful debate. And I think we were able to come out with a list of absolute gems, and we are today there to honor them. But today is not only about a celebration of excellence. It's also a clarion call. It's also a theme for renewal. It's also us, and you heard the spirited discourse of our Honorable Finance Minister. Today also we sit down together, reflect on what we need to do, and move on. Despite these sort of gloomy, dark, grayish days, I'm sure the sun is shining brightly, and the presence of so many wonderful stories today tell us that, yes, there is a great potential and a great promise for our country. And if you read the article written today, co-authored by my ex-chairman, Dr. Ganguly, in the Economic Times, you'd know what I mean. We've got tremendous potential and tremendous promise. And gentlemen, we, at least in Times of India, intend to keep our promise. And our promise is very simple. Our promise is that we'll bring to you, and we'll continue to bring to you, information and insight, which will help you, and which will build our nation, build our economy. And in that, we hope to move forward. We hope to move away from the current, grayish days, and let the sun shine brightly. Just like some of the wonderful achievements that we come to celebrate today, energize us and inspire us. And you will hear the awards just now, and I'm sure you'll leave the room just like our finance minister wanted us to, all together converged and wanting to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dhariwal. We now move on to the awards ceremony. Our first award for Corporate Citizen of the Year offers a toast to the Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, which has buttered us up at the breakfast table every morning and utterly spoilt us for choice. The federation, which owns the Amul brand, has been plowing its profits back to some 3 million dairy farmers who are its shareholders for over 60 years. The biggest benefits of the Amul cooperative model have not gone to those who form the creamy layer, but to the poorest marginal farmers, landless laborers, and rural women. The Amul girl is a cool dude and the nation's cutest social barometer, commenting on everything from the World Cup victory and the 26/11 terror strike to the new rupee symbol. As you whiz by the Amul hoardings in your car, they almost seem like snapshots of a nation talking to itself. So the next time you pass by a billboard, don't be surprised if you see that little girl walking the red carpet in her polka-dotted gown and taking a bow for her ET Oscar. I now invite Salman Khurshid, Minister of Law and Justice, to present the Economic Times Award for Corporate Citizen of the Year to the Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation. May I request Parthibhai Bhatol, its chairman, and R.S. Sodhi, its managing director, to come up on stage and accept the award on behalf of the 3 million farmers who are a part of its network.
That today is the 90th birthday of Dr. Kurian. We wish him many, many more years in the service of the nation. Happy birthday to him.
Thank you, Mr. Khurshid. May I invite Mr. Bhatol to say a few words? Sir, would you take that podium?
माननीय श्री प्रणव मुखर्जी जी, श्री कपिल सिब्बल जी, श्री जयराम रमेश जी, श्री सलमान खुर्शीद जी और जूरी मेंबर्स, मुझे ये प्रतिष्ठित कॉरपोरेट सिटीजन अवार्ड ग्रहण करते हुए अपार हर्ष और गर्व का अनुभव हो रहा है। मुझे और खुशी इस बात की है कि कॉरपोरेट जगत ने एक कोऑपरेटिव के प्रयासों को सराहा है और कॉरपोरेट के बराबरी की मान्यता दी है। यह पुरस्कार 31 लाख किसानों के कोऑपरेटिव को देकर उन सभी किसानों का सम्मानित किया है, जिसके लिए मैं आपको हार्दिक धन्यवाद देता हूं। संयोग से भारतीय श्वेत क्रांति के जनक और ऑपरेशन फ्लड के शिल्पकार डॉक्टर वर्गीस कुरियन, जिनके मार्गदर्शन से अमूल आज इस मुकाम तक पहुंचा है, उनका आज 90वां जन्मदिन है। मैं ये पुरस्कार उनको भी समर्पित करता हूं। मैं अमूल परिवार की ओर से टाइम्स ग्रुप को इस पहल के लिए बधाई और शुभकामनाएं देना चाहता हूं। मैं आप सभी को यह विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि हम भविष्य में भी इसी प्रकार अपनी जिम्मेदारियां पूरी तरह से निभाते रहेंगे। इस प्रोत्साहन के लिए आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय सहकार।
Thank you, Mr. Bhatul. This evening's Entrepreneur of the Year is a guerrilla warrior of the skies who has sneaked past the established players and is now set to soar. Rahul Bhatia, the hands-on founder of Indigo, the airline also promoted by the US-based NRI Rakesh Gangawal, surprised aviation watchers in 2005 by snapping up 100 Airbus planes. He then went on to redefine the term budget airline for the Indian market and caught the competition napping in flight. His well-oiled flying machines offer travelers in the mid-segment market no frills, but operational efficiency and on-time performance at prices which are hard to match. That's saying a lot at a time when the Maharajas and Mysore Rajas are in danger of their fleet being grounded. Mr. Bhatia is today the managing director of Interglobe Enterprises, a multi-billion-dollar company which has diversified into aviation management, travel technology, and hotels. I now invite Jairam Ramesh, Minister for Rural Development, to present ET's Award for Entrepreneur of the Year to Rahul Bhatia, Group Managing Director of Interglobe Enterprises. Thank you, Mr. Ramesh. Mr. Bhatia, may I invite you to say a few words? You have 1 minute, and there will be no bailouts.
So one, I'm going to bust something that is taboo at Indigo. I'm going to bust that 1 minute cap. I apologize for that. Honorable Mr. Mukherjee, ministers, Mr. Jain, the jury, I am actually humbled by something like this. And I am actually the smallest minion in the business. And the only credit that I have is that I have the ability to decide whether we serve warm beverages on the planes or not. I have a small story to share with you about these 6 guys who went to Ranthambore to watch the tiger. So they were walking around and they had an encounter with the tiger. The tiger was looking at these 6 people, and the 6 guys were looking at the tiger. And suddenly they started to run for their lives. So while they were running away, one of them stopped and started to go into his duffel bag looking for something, and these other 5 people said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm looking for my sneakers." He says, "You can't be serious. You think you're going to outrun this tiger?" And this guy said to the other 5 guys, he says, "No, all I need to do is outrun the 5 of you." This award truly belongs to Rakesh, who has given us the sneakers, and to Aditya and his team, who wear them every morning and sprint faster than the tiger. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bhatia. Last year's Entrepreneur of the Year is this year's award winner for ET's Emerging Company of the Year. Narendra Murkumbi, the Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Sri Renuka Sugars, is a rehab artist who specializes in buying old and ailing mills and turning them into star performers. The Belgaum native, who has already trumped some of his influential political neighbors, has now set his sights on foreign sugar. In 2010, he acquired 2 distressed companies in Brazil, the world's largest and cheapest sugar producer, and soon had them humming again without firing a single employee. Mr. Murkumbi is a frank expansionist who currently oversees a business conglomerate spanning sugar, fuel, energy, and international commodity trading. But he admits he could never have made his conquests without a strong ally, his mother Vidya, who co-founded the business and is the executive chairman. I now invite Kapil Sibal, Minister for Communications and Human Resource Development, to present the award for Emerging Company of the Year to Narendra Murkumbi, Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Sri Renuka Sugars, and his mother Vidya. Thank you, Mr. Sibal. Mr. Murkumbi, you have the floor.
Hard to constrain a lady to talk only 1 minute. Still, I will try. Good evening, everybody. This is not only a prestigious award, but also a great inspiration to our company that had started from a scratch 12 years back. I share this award with my son Narendra, who is the leader and driving force of this company, and his team, a very strong board, my hundreds of workers, thousands of farmers and shareholders who came along with us right from the beginning. I thank Economic Times, members of selection committee, and I also thank Honorable Finance Minister Pranada, who inspired me to put a refinery in West Bengal, a sole sugar producing unit, which nobody never thought of. As a company, we are currently seeing many challenges, but are facing them with all our energy. India and Brazil are great countries, and we are confident we will win in the end. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Vidyatai. This year's award for Global Indian of the Year goes to local boy Vikram Pandit, CEO of Citigroup. Mr. Pandit occupied Wall Street, in a manner of speaking, in 2007 when he moved into the corner office of the world's biggest bank, barely months before the financial desert storm which sent many other banks crashing and all but devoured his own. That he not only managed to scrape through on a take-home pay of $1 in 2010, but has returned Citigroup to a healthy profit for 5 quarters running, is by now casebook history. But it has been a hard and chastening fight back, and the rescue has come at a hefty price: $45 billion of US taxpayers' money, and heartbreakingly, the loss of thousands of jobs. For Mr. Pandit, a born-again CEO, the trial by fire has not been without its lessons. His immediate goal is to win back his clients' trust. Banking, he told an interviewer recently, should not be an end in itself. It must support the real economy. Since the city never sleeps, Mr. Pandit is now presumably wide awake in New York, from where he has sent E.T. his message of thanks. May we have the audio-visual, please?
Good evening. I'm deeply honored to have been chosen by the Economic Times as its 2011 Global Indian of the Year. Thank you very much for this recognition, and thank you all for attending today's ceremony. I would like to share this honor with my Citi colleagues in India, and I thank them for their hard work. Indeed, Citi is today a fundamentally different company than it was just 3 years ago. We're focused on delivering for our clients here in India and in every market we serve. And we're focused on practicing responsible finance on a global scale. Let me conclude by noting that India stands at the crossroads of the trends driving global growth, especially the expansion of trade between new growth markets. India has always had a culture that is encouraging to entrepreneurs. That culture of openness and tolerance has inspired me throughout my career, and it's helping India to emerge as one of the world's most dynamic economies. I'm a proud son of India, and I'm proud as CEO of Citi to play a part in connecting the Indian market to opportunities all around the world. On behalf of the entire Citi team, I want to once again thank the Economic Times for this great honor. Thank you.
Our next award goes to a man who wants your fingerprints and your eyeballs. In 2007, software billionaire Nandan Nilekani traded in his ID as CEO of Infosys for that of author. He wrote Imagining India, a massive tome that went on to become a bestseller. It envisioned an India where every citizen would actually count, and as it turned out, be counted. In doing so, he reimagined himself as a social reformer who could turn his outsourcing skills inwards, using the power of IT to set up a different kind of startup, good governance at home. As chairman of the Unique Identification Authority of India, Mr. Nilekani and his team are busy feeding the IDs of hundreds of millions of Indians into a biometric database, a daunting task which has been described as the biggest social project on the planet. By 2014, 600 million Indians, a large number of whom may have otherwise been invisible to the state, will have their own unique ID numbers. They will be able to use them to open bank accounts or avail of food subsidies, which could have been lost to corruption. I call on Union Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee to present the Award for Policy Change Agent of the Year to Nandan Nilekani, who has flattened the world between Delhi and Bangalore as only this techie knows how.
Mr. Mukherjee, members of his cabinet, ladies and gentlemen, it's really a great honor to get this award. I just want to clarify the award is not for a policy change agent, but for a policy implementation agent, because that's what I'm doing right now. Actually, the idea of the unique ID was championed and conceived by Sri Pranab Mukherjee when he began in EGOM in 2006, which led to the creation of this body in 2009. And I joined only in July 2009. But in the last 2 years, we have enrolled 125 million people into the system and issued about 75 million Aadhaar numbers already. The reason we're able to do this is we have built the world's largest biometric deduplication capacity in the world, with about 1 million deduplications a day, at an error rate of less than 99 point, at a accuracy rate of more than 99.99%. And this is never been done anywhere in the world before. We also built a front end where we can enroll people. So today we have 20,000 enrollment stations around the world, around the country, which enroll about 1 million people a day. So that's we expect to reach about 200 million people by March. But the next phase is really the interesting phase when this will be, because it is the world's first online ID, it will be used for various kinds of service delivery. So in fact, we're working with everybody on this stage. Of course, Mr. Mukherjee is helping us to work on the whole financial inclusion as well as subsidy reforms on subsidies like food, fertilizer, and fuel. I'm working with Mr. Kapil Sibal in both his capacities. As the telecom minister, we're implementing Aadhaar as an online KYC for mobile connections. And in his capacity as HRD minister, we're working on integrating Akash with Aadhaar, which he will be launching shortly. Mr. Jairam Ramesh is a big partner in implementing Aadhaar in MNRJ payments to expedite payments to NRJ workers in Jharkhand. That should be going online pretty soon. And Salman, of course, is helping us to pass our law along with the 31 other laws in Parliament. So I hope that will also happen soon. So we're really working with everybody here, and I do hope in the next 1 year you'll see some more results which will change the lives of millions of Indians. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nilekani. Our next award winner has been called the Iron Lady of Banking, who has nerves of steel and an armor of medals that have shielded her in times of crisis. Chanda Kochar, the Managing Director and CEO of ICICI Bank, has been a serial topper, including at the Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management, where she met the two most important men in her life, one of whom offered her a permanent home, and the other a secure office. Needless to say, she has stayed loyal to both, her husband Deepak, who was her batchmate, and her mentor K.V. Kamath, who hired her on campus as a management trainee in 1984, and whom she eventually succeeded as head of ICICI Bank in 2009. She has thus laid down a new truism: behind every successful woman, there is not one man, but two. Ms. Kochar took charge of the bank at a time when its stock had sunk to one of its lowest points, and when alarmists were eager to write its post-mortem. She stepped into the war room with the courage of a five-star general and mapped out a strategy to rein in the aggressive growth that she, among others at the bank, had earlier championed. In doing so, she displayed the agility and confidence of a leader prepared to redress past errors. The ET Award for Business Leader has always anointed the poster boys of India Inc. This year, for the first time, it has gone to a woman. I call on Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee to present the Business Leader of the Year award to Chanda Kochar, Managing Director and CEO of ICICI Bank.
Honorable Finance Minister, the other cabinet ministers, Mr. Vineet Jain, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank the Economic Times and the jury members for giving me this honor. Actually, more than thank, I would like to compliment the Economic Times for taking the step of combining the Businessman and the Businesswoman of the Year award into a Business Leader of the Year award. because in my view, this is a big message to India. I think this is a recognition of all the strides that women are making in the Indian corporate world, in the Indian business, and I think this is a big recognition of the maturity that the Indian corporate sector is moving towards in terms of gender diversity and gender neutrality. So let's compliment Economic Times for giving out this message of gender neutrality. I really accept this award on behalf of my entire team, many of whom are present here, because in the last couple of years, we've taken a lot of tough decisions, but my team has implemented and executed those strategies with immense smoothness. I think it's their ability, their agility, the dynamism with which they have implemented the strategy that has made all these achievements possible. I'd like to thank my mentors at ICICI, my parents, my in-laws, a lot of people. But I think 3 people in my life without whom nothing of this would have been possible is my husband and my 2 children. My husband, who has been my true friend, my true companion, and who's taught me a lot in terms of approach to life, how to remain focused towards a goal, and how to give it its full dedication and passion till you achieve it. And my 2 lovely children, Aarti and Arjun. In my view, they are bigger achievers than I am, because when I was their age, I always expected my mother to be by my side, but my children are achieving many things without having their mother next to them. So I think they are even bigger achievers than I am. And of course, a last message to all of us present here. I'm a big believer in the potential of India, and I think this is the time for all of us to showcase to the world the potential of India, to showcase to the world that India is a land of opportunities. Let's not get bogged down by the challenges. Let's recognize the challenges, let's handle them, let's manage them, but let us all work together to take our country towards its full potential. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kocher. This year's Company of the Year is 75 years old, but like its somewhat younger chairman, it remains feisty at heart. Bajaj Auto is not yet the hero of the road, but it has put its rivals on notice by setting itself a scorching pace. The company may still not be India's largest bike maker by volume, but it's easily the most profitable, having consistently posted margins above 20% in the past few quarters. Its sales have also revved up by 35% in the last fiscal. While much of the credit for putting the business on the fast track undoubtedly belongs to Chairman Rahul Bajaj, his son Rajiv, now firmly in the driver's seat, has been a key player in the company's top gear performance. That should allow the senior Bajaj more time to enliven the public debate with his candor, whether in the Rajya Sabha or at business summits in Mumbai, a prospect that we in the media would especially relish. I now invite Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee to present ET's Company of the Year award to Bajaj Auto and would request Rajiv Bajaj, its Managing Director, to come up on stage.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to tell you what this says. It says, ultimately, you just can't beat a Bajaj. That's what it says. But I think right now it's perhaps more appropriate to say that today you just can't miss a Bajaj because 25 of us are over here occupying several rows at that part of the hall. I think it's our way of acknowledging that the ET Awards are indeed the Oscars of the business awards. Although I will hasten to add that the mother of all Oscars will be conferred upon my mother next month on the 16th of December when she completes 50 full years of successfully managing my father. That is undoubtedly a more daunting task than managing Bajaj Auto. To my team and to me, this award says that Bajaj Auto can find a happy future without the scooter as its product and without necessarily having Bajaj as its brand. Of course, that doesn't mean it will put an end to the father-son debate on this matter. Sir, I think even your exceptional skills cannot resolve this conflict. So from all of us at Bajaj Auto, many thanks from the bottom of our heart to all of you at ET for this wonderful award. Thank you.
Well said, Mr. Rajiv Bajaj. This year's Lifetime Achievement Award goes to a man who only a few years ago was called a killjoy, a party pooper, and a never ready. Y.V. Reddy, who was governor of the Reserve Bank of India between 2003 and 2008, was a tough regulator whose stance was criticized as being far too conservative, whether on reining in loans to the real estate sector or on using the country's foreign exchange reserves. That did not always endear him to many in the Indian banking community. They were later more than happy to eat their words. Unlike his more high-risk, subprime addicted counterparts in some Western countries, who only whisked away the punch bowls when the party died around 2008, Mr. Reddy believed it was better to curb excess early rather than to have to suffer a hangover. In other words, stay away from bubbles, and there will be plenty of bubbly to go around. Prudent civil servant that he once was, he laid down a raft of policies to help hold India's bankers to high lending standards. Under the stringent Reddy template, banks were made to put aside extra capital for every loan they made. The former RBI governor is now looked upon, even by his harshest critics, as an economic savior. I invite Mr. Pranab Mukherjee to present ET's Lifetime Achievement Award to Y.V. Reddy, former governor of the Reserve Bank of India.
Respected ministers, distinguished friends, I'm particularly happy to receive this award from Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, under whom I worked in several capacities for 3 decades. I congratulate the Economic Times for this very thoughtful event. I am grateful to the jury for considering me deserving of this prestigious award. This award, I believe, is an acknowledgement of the important contribution that good public policy makes to Indian economy. In particular, the award is a tribute to the professionalism and commitment of Reserve Bank of India. I want to take this opportunity to make a humble suggestion to take this initiative forward. The suggestion is to create a trust with funds to be contributed entirely by private sector. Funds to be contributed entirely by private sector to improve the functioning of the public services. Our private sector is globally competitive in technology, in organization, and in management. We should therefore harness this talent to create a matching, globally competitive public system. I believe that the best and the brightest of the talented assembled here should be made available as consultancies to bridge the gap between public policy goals and efficient delivery of all public services. This initiative can design incentives and systems based on global experiences, our needs, and above all, the expertise of the private sector. The material returns to private sector, I repeat, the material returns to private sector from such a trust to improve public systems will be huge, but indirect. Through this trust, we will be building trust between public and private sector. The private sector will be helping itself by being supportive of public policy and public services that are so vital for our country to move forward. Thank you all and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request all of you to remain seated while the winners come up on stage for a photo op, since the Finance Minister has to leave us in a few minutes from now. After the photo session, we shall move on to a direct interaction on the agenda for renewal between the other ministers who will be with us for the rest of the evening and the CEOs in the audience. Mr. Mukherjee, will you just stay on for a few minutes for the photograph with the winners? Will the winners please come up on stage?